Hello and welcome back to Family Tree Farm YouTube channel. Today I'm doing some pre-fall discussions and a little tour again. I'm going to go over some plans for my seeding and show you about actually planting some seeds. I'll show you a before picture of my herb garden that I'm cleaning out and progress on the greenhouse, and also tips for using a calendar and also how to wash out your garden gloves. And then I'll close with just showing you some of our stock plants that are in buckets. And let's get started. These are the seeds that I plan for the pre-fall planting. I really like my eggplants, so I have eggplant over here. And then I have cilantro, which I need more cilantro, organic lettuce and spinach, heirloom seeds. And then I have my heirloom Everglades tomatoes and Seminole squash that I sell in my Etsy store. I'll be gathering all the seeds from these and selling them too. What I'm going to use is a seed starter soil. It just guarantees that I'm not messing up. I'm using these little trays for the first time. I've never used them before. I'll fill the bottom 2 inches with the medium, then I'll do the top inch or 2 with the seed starter soil. So what I've decided to do was put eggplant and Seminole squash in here. I only want 6 or 7 plants each. That's actually too many for the Seminole Indian pumpkin squash, because one vine will give you like 20 or 30 fruit. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all this. I might give plants away. And then I only need like 6 more eggplants to add to my 3 I have already. Here I'm going to put all Everglades tomatoes, because you never have enough tomatoes. And each one of these, one will be spinach and one will be lettuce. And after they come up, I'll transplant them. My cilantro is going to go in here. I have 2 healthy cilantro plants, and I'm going to go ahead and add like 6 or 7 more plants to that. Okay, I just did a little boo-boo, and I'm going to show you what I did. I planted all my lettuce here, and I was getting ready to plant all of my spinach over here. But instead, I planted my spinach on top of my lettuce. So it's kind of one of those beautiful mistakes, you know. I just like the way God works, because now I'm going to have fun figuring out when they come up, because I'm going to go ahead and do spinach and lettuce together over here. But I'm going to have kind of fun figuring out if I like this method of just growing spinach and lettuce next to each other. I'm thinking to myself, well, there's nothing really wrong with that, that I can see. So it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be this year. So we'll see how this goes. And they're both going to have labels like that. Right, Waco? Are you a good boy? That's my beast. This is Waco. He's a 1.5 years. He's half pit bull, half Great Dane. And I don't know if you knew this, but Great Danes are emotional dogs. They like to sit on your lap. I read a lot about the Great Danes, and you can't really discipline them, like, you know, smack them on the butt or, you know, yell at them. Great Danes, you have to really kind of talk to them and point things out, because they really do go like into depression they just don't take that other kind of discipline like we're used to doing with dogs. So he sticks to you like glue, and he's really a great dog to be out in the yard with. Anyway, say goodbye, Waco. Say goodbye, baby. I know you can find this in books, and hopefully you have your own charts. I hope you can see this. Yes, I turned 60, my birthday. Hey, this is real life here. Okay, these are the phases of the moon. The new moon, all the way up until it becomes the full moon, and then it starts to wane again. And so when you have the new moon, you want to plant seeds that appear on the outside of the plants, like cilantro, spinach, lettuce, then you want to continue to plant seeds on the outside, but you also start planting seeds that are the inside of the fruits. Tomatoes, squash, things like that. The full moon comes, then you begin to plant plants that need to be grown underground, like garlic, potatoes. So this little chart is you plant these types of plants during these moon phases. And it works really well, and you can find this in any book that goes over these kinds of moon planting schedules. I have a general schedule for monthly things, and in July I can anticipate what's coming up. I know my figs are going to be, or have been, because it's now 1st of August, first week of August, but in July these are the things that happen, and I put my own personal notes down at the bottom. But over here in August, yes, it's going to be hot. The pears are up, the grapes are up. Time to plant spinach and lettuce. Now, even though I have that this is the month for it, I refer back to my calendar for the moons to tell me what phase of the moon within that month I plant. So I find this little calendar very helpful, and what's really great about it is that if something comes up that I didn't have written down, but it's something that I really should remember or anticipate, it'll help me organize, then I go ahead and I put it in that box. So September I don't have very much going on, but the mushrooms are up. Let me move over here. Now we just had mushrooms already come up on my logs. We have shiitake mushroom logs that we grow mushrooms. Okay, they're not in very good shape, but these are some of the mushrooms that came up early. We didn't even know they were up there, so they got kind of neglected. Okay, I'm continuing my pre-fall busy activities. Bob bought some medium, pine bark medium that has, what does this have fertilizer in it?
Yeah, time release.
It has time release fertilizer in it. I've already been using it. We're going to store it here. And by the way, those are the beautiful turmeric plants that came up. Remember I told you I planted the roots too low and then I replanted them higher up, and now they're beautiful, doing well. We cleaned up our planting area. We're going to be extending the tables out. We propagated out a whole bunch of blueberry starters, lemongrass starters, mulberry. There's some mulberry in there. Bob finished building his tool shed over the well house, and we're finally knocking down the old tool shed that we built 10 years ago, outdoor tool shed. This is my mushroom patch, mushroom logs, I mean, and I've got a new mushroom in there. I'm going to let it grow. Our plans are to extend it out into the woods, make sure it's covered well, doesn't need a lot of sun. These logs, something really got to them, so I'm sure they're not going to produce any more mushrooms.
I should do a follow-up on the figs real quick. Can you walk over here?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of them right here, and it's a very large cutting, but it's took perfectly. That's one, and there's a bunch more over here. Some of them look a little better than others. I guess it depends on the size of the bucket I use. One here gets the most sun and dries out the quickest. That's why the leaves are a little bit yellow. I didn't water it yesterday and the day before. And then this one here is in a bucket also, but it gets a little bit more shade. And then this one here. Now these are all cuttings. These are all cuttings that I took and cut. You can look at the prior videos and see how long ago it was. It wasn't very long ago, and they're doing great. So I'm ready to put these in the ground. I'm going to use them for nursery stock. This is one I stuck directly in the ground. It's doing great.
Tell them about this little garden you made for a 4-year-old, our granddaughter.
Well, this is for our,
people can do this for their grandchildren too. It's real simple.
For our little grandbaby, Abigail. I kind of planned it for her, but I wanted her to maintain it. And that was, now she'll need to come in there and pull out some of the weeds. And I showed her where the knob was to turn on the irrigation. And I put 2 2 shovelfuls of medium pine bark growing medium in there before I stuck them in the ground. They were all yellow. They were all in little trays like this. They'd been in there too long. I got the trays for free, and I was able to put them in the ground, and now they're growing.
Okay, well thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Talk to you later. This is a little update on the greenhouse. And after this, I'm going to show you one more quick thing. But as you can see, it's coming along really nice. I planned out where eventually everything's going to go, and I've got some of the infrastructure started, obviously. Bob's going to take down this wall, this little door, and he's going to close in this whole corner here. He's got one side of the wall. And then right over that little fence there is where I'm going to take you next. Okay, this is the outside of the wall of the greenhouse, the new wall. And over here is what I used to call the herb garden, but it's going to be a lot more this year. Everything in here was knee-high yesterday, and I whacked it all. The sunniest side, I'm going to be putting at least like my rosemary and a few things over here. This is what I sell on Etsy, my Everglades tomato plant. It's been 98 degrees and these things just grow all summer long. That's one plant. So please go to the Etsy store if you're interested in getting seeds. I'll be pulling out this lemongrass and repotting it and clearing this whole garden out, this area out for gardening. I'll be putting spinach and lettuce in here. Right now I have really nice banana peppers, which we eat all the time. And I planted some green peppers over here, but to be honest, I don't think they get enough light. Over here, I'm going to be putting all of my potted blueberries, and I could water them well over here. I have plans to split my water and run drip irrigation from this point all the way across to the different areas in here that I'll be putting things. I plan to put garlic plants here. They don't need a lot of sun, but they like water. And I'll be removing these little trees here and elevating up that big old mess up there. But I've got this all planned out with a map of where I'm going to be placing all the things I'll be growing this fall. This is one of my Seminole pumpkin plants. And one will give you like 20 fruit. So. And what I'm going to do is show you how I wash my gloves out. They are dirty from this morning. I hold them firmly on the top. Start here. I'm going to flip them over.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out how to see most of it.
Do it to the next one.
I think I know which way to go.
And that'll pretty much do it. I have gloves laying around and they dry out, and I leave them kind of all around the place and pick them up when I go. So like right now I'm going to put these on because I'm going somewhere to do something, and those are done for the day. I'll be adding a lot more herbs. Like this is my lemon balm, and I'm getting some more rosemary from my mother-in-law next door. These are all blueberry plants, and this row on the outside is propagated lemongrass plants, which I sell on Etsy, the roots. Black mulberry cuttings did well, and I'm going to get white mulberries cuttings from my mother-in-law. And then my daughter works at Southern Habitats, and they gave me these, they call them sweet tea. They're wonderful grasses. They do work replanting areas for the Florida Wildlife Commission and hunters and whatnot. So I'm going to experiment with this they call sweet tea. And they're going to come to seed, and I'm just going to grow these and see how these work. I'm going to be working with them maybe to make tinctures with this. I'm not sure yet. So that's a quick update. And I hope you all have a blessed day. Thank you for joining me for my pre-fall walk around. And I'm kicking off my Tips for Tuesdays. And the information on my board was my first tip. It works great for me, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Bye.